Good morning, Kelly.
Morning.
Thank you so much for making it today. And look at this place around. Isn't it amazing?
Beautiful.
How is it life in paradise?
It's beautiful. I also like there's days where it's hot and things like that, but then you look at the nature and you just feel really connected. I feel honored to be here in Bali.
And I always wondered, because I have known you since a few years, but how did you actually make to Bali? Why did you end up being here?
Great question. Let me go back. 2017, I was a yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga for 17 years. And at that point, I had lots of yoga friends. So I had a Kundalini yoga teacher friend, a Yin yoga teacher friend, Vinyasa, and I was the Hatha lady. Anyway, we came on a holiday to Bali Spirit Festival in 2017. And when we came for that, I fell in love with Bali. Not just the yoga, but the way that the Balinese do the offerings. And there was something about it. And I remember having coconut ice cream, making a decision that I'm going to come back and put my business online. It was so clear for me. So yeah, that was in 2017. It was a yoga holiday, and I just fell in love with the gratitude of the ceremonies.
So you set your intention in 2017 to come back here and set your business online so you'll be able to be sustainable and to move here, or was it just for
Yeah.
some time?
No, there was a fire in me, and I was like, I'm going to come back. I want to live here. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet because all my people were in like yoga studios and sometimes church halls and stuff because I was doing predominantly yoga therapy at that point. But I just made the intention. And then 6 months later, I got a job in Gili Air, and that's when it began.
It's interesting because Gili Air was my favorite island, and that was the reason why I moved to Bali.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I
Oh.
made my decision in 2019. The 2019, I was there and I decided, I don't know how, but I'm moving to Indonesia. Actually, I set an intention to be either on Guinea Air Island or another beautiful paradise-like looking island, because I just asked myself, why I'm not here? Why do I live still in London? And yeah, I love it. I love it. Whenever we decide anything, is how I see, excuse me, how I see is the mind has an exact kind of goal set up, right? So we're setting up the goal with the intention, and then it's much easier to happen. And you have been in programming the mind since quite a while, right?
Yeah, I have. Probably for about, well, I've been interested in subconscious work probably maybe 10 years, but the Song for the Soul I created in 2020. So 6 years ago.
And where the idea came from?
Frustration and innovation. So basically, I was so annoyed after being in self-development for so long. I was doing sun salutations, 10 years, really like discipline, doing all the things. And then I still didn't feel enough. There was still stuff coming up with like my childhood trauma, not having a father. And every time I went on stage singing, I used to have imposter syndrome. And I think 2020 kind of allowed me to have that space to kind of grieve. And I still felt really sad and all the stuff came up. So it was then I picked up a ukulele and started singing songs, not to perform, but for me, for my inner child. And it was so soothing. And I was on my own as well. And so from there, I was like, there's something in this. It was a way for me to connect back to my heart and to remember who I am through song.
But you've started singing much earlier than 2020, right?
Yeah, I was a professional singer, so I've been singing 25 years, but I didn't go to music college. Basically, my grandma was a singer and my granddad was in entertainment, and I learnt the craft by my grandma and by getting booed off stage. So rise and fall, I learnt on the go.
Wow, what a story.
Oh,
25 years singing, and
yeah.
grandma and granddad
My
as well?
granddad. Yeah, my granddad
Were
was
they-
like a
what kind of-
producer.
He was. And your grandma, was she an opera? What kind of singer was she?
Well, she was a dancer, but she started doing singing, you know, like variety shows. But she was more of a dancer. But the best thing about my grandma is that she was a performer. So she didn't have an amazing voice. She would say that herself, but she was so good at performing. She used to use her eyes. And I think in the 1950s, she was the first person in the area in the UK to serenade a man. So she was kind of before her time, you know?
Beautiful. So obviously she was your role model when you were growing up. You would see her on stage, and what little Kelly would think then?
Yeah, I never saw her on stage because she'd quit at that point, but I saw her pictures and yeah, I was very inspired by her. Very inspired. But yeah, like she used to do, I think she started working at the age of 4, dancing.
Wow.
1935. So yeah, she was working from the age of 4.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so you have created your song, you've said, because out of
Frustration.
You had enough of those feelings of not being enough and some other beyond that. When did you realize that the songs can help you with programming?
I don't know the exact point, but probably maybe 2021, maybe, when I started doing it really regularly and I started to see I was walking out into the world just a little bit more safer. Because what I didn't realize is that when I was singing, I was soothing myself and calming myself. So therefore, I felt safer to go out into the world. So it might have been a year later after doing it. I wouldn't know the exact, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting how much of the lyrics that we don't sometimes aware even of, right? Because there's so many songs we have listened through the whole life. But when we get back to a certain memory, quite often there is a music that would have been somehow attached to it. And then you realize, wow, I was dancing with someone and that song was playing. But I've started paying attention to the lyrics, I think, not that long ago. Probably since 2020, I was more aware. Maybe 2019, actually, when I started studying hypnotherapy, I've realized that, yes, songs are incredibly programming, and we've got to be very careful what kind of music we choosing to listen to. And I remember we went out once and we were at that beach club and that pop music. I don't remember exactly the words, but I think we made up our song because it was so horrible and it was so depressive.
I remember that now. Yeah, sorry, I forgot for a moment. Yeah, because it's like even like talking about men in a bad way or a relationship. I can't remember the particular words, but it's like, this is not what we want.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
remember which song it was.
And I remember you came back, last time you came back from UK, you were mentioning about that there is one song and it says, I'm depressed all the time, right?
Yeah, it's a lady. Well, I can't remember her name, but I'm like, that's not all the word anxiety. I'm like, maybe this isn't a good idea to be saying I'm anxious. No, let's not say that. That's not good. But yeah, it's kind of comical, but I believe songs can support us and we are what we focus on. And I think it's great to have a great music beat, but just like how we focus on the food that we eat, the words are just as nourishing. And sometimes they're encapsulated in a song, but there's some dodgy words in there that aren't supporting us.
Yeah. So it's we could have compared music to food, right? It's like we consume food the same way we consume the words of the songs that we're listening to. And I adore what you do. I absolutely love the songs you did for me. Kelly did a few beautiful songs. And with your permission, I will share all the details of the songs belong. So whoever is watching us and would like to improve any area of their lives, Kelly has got song about abundance, about basically anything, right? And everything, every field, every area of your life can be improved by the songs that you're making.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about those songs.
You're so lovely. I have to say, you are one of my biggest, not only someone that I love, but you're just a supporter and you've really helped me with what I've done. To have good friends in your corner, I just want to say that.
Thank
So
you
we
so
have that
much.
recorded. It's
That's
really nice.
so appreciated. Thank
Ah.
you.
So yeah, there's songs like Release the Rage. I noticed as a woman going through like a survival of sexual trauma to be able to feel the rage and to sing that out. That was a really deep song that I wrote for me. And also listening to my friends, it's really important that we release it and don't hold it. I don't know where it was in my journey, but I realized so it was in prayer. I got let's express so we don't suppress and we're less likely to be depressed. My mom was depressed, literally from my whole childhood. So I went on this weird journey to not suppress. I didn't want to be fake in show business anymore. I just wanted to be myself. And I really realized that when I feel the feeling and I sing it out and express it, then it's not in my body.
I see. And I think nowadays I see this approach of being positive all the time. And it's like we are negating the negative feelings because we are sometimes unaware what to do with them, right?
Yeah.
We are like, okay, am I allowed to be angry? Am I allowed to grieve? I think we're still learning what approach to have.
Yeah.
And how to express yourself fully. And I think recently I came across to this information that exactly says what you say, just release it. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to set your boundaries because that's what anger comes into our lives. If people are crossing your boundaries, if someone is trying to do something that is unpleasant, that is somehow it might be even humiliating or diminishing you, then of course there is an anger to stop that, right? We can't remain positive and loving all the time. And how I perceive love nowadays, it's yes, to accept what it is, yes, to be compassionate and send lots of love and surround people with that love and share that beautiful feeling. However, I am also learning how to set my boundaries because whether we would like it or not, there will be always people who would try to, cut you off your feet, as I
Yeah.
like to call it. And if you don't have your boundaries set strong, then you might suffer by overgiving, being too kind. What's your approach to that?
Well, first of all, I don't relate about overgiving. Overgiving's a thing, isn't it? Especially for women.
So what do you believe is over? So let's first
Yeah.
see, your approach about anger management and expression of it. How
Yeah.
much you actually would say, is it any kind of limit to that? And overgiving, it's the
Yeah.
second thing that I would like to actually discuss as
Yeah.
well.
Okay. So the first question,
It was about anger
yeah.
and setting boundaries. And you're
Okay.
very good. I must say that
I've had to
Kelly
learn.
is my role model
Oh,
when it comes to setting boundaries.
no, thank you. I've been on a journey. It was a journey. It's funny because my friends like you and Luciana are like, you're so good. I'm like, I wish you could have seen me like 10 years ago. I just kind of let a lot of stuff slide. And it was like I was freezing. And then I'd walk away from a situation and be like, why didn't I say anything? And I don't know if it was hospitality or the good girl in me that didn't want to upset anyone, but it was holding it, So yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and I guess also subconsciously sometimes we are triggered, and there is that mode of freeze or fight or flight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So sometimes we are unable until we learn how to react to the certain situation
Yeah.
and people. So what actually was your last I'm done moment? When did you begin to be very assertive and learn to set your boundaries?
So this is like a vulnerable story that I think I'm ready to share today with you. I don't think I've
Thank
really
you.
talked about this before. It might be after I realized I was raped, and it was basically it happened where I got drugged in a drink. So it kind of I didn't really process the trauma until 5 years after. until I started to like feel into it. And then I felt silenced by that situation. And I made a vow because there was so much that went into it, and it really kind of it just changed my whole life. I was afraid of being singing, afraid of being seen because of it. And basically, in a nutshell, I was able to go, I feel like I've been silent, so I vow to myself, I will never silence myself again. And I will express myself and try and soothe myself through a situation that, you know, I turned my pain into power, but it took a long time for me to realize that it even happened. And I did the thing of, oh, it's my fault. I put myself in that situation. And on the journey of healing, I realized, okay, this has happened, but what can I do about it? And how can I make sure that I'm brave enough to say no? I don't know if that makes sense. It's a heavy topic, but yeah, it was kind of like, I'm ready now to not self-abandon myself, and I'm ready to just be honest and safe enough to be honest.
I'm very sorry that it happened to you.
Thank you.
And yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I keep meeting many women who can relate to your story, including myself. I also had my drink spiked in 2019, just before I decided I'm moving from London to Bali. And two men were trying to take an advantage of me. And I did not realize that this trauma was very deep in my subconscious mind. So it's very unpleasant and an easy thing to go through. And now I understand that it had happened for me, and I assume it might be also your case, so we can help other women to go through this kind of trauma.
Yeah.
To overcome it and to, I wouldn't say to make it an advantage, because that doesn't sound right, but I would say how to come out of it and still make our best way of living.
Yeah.
How to forgive when we are ready to forgive, how to let go, and how to give yourself the best support.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's
No, I know.
uneasy to talk about it.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
how long ago was it, this
It's funny how
incident
you
you've
kind of
described?
like, even the year, what was it, 2015. And it was in 2020 that I had so much space that I realized, and I had a healing session that I was like, oh, and then it came up 5 years later.
Yeah,
Because
so
the
I see.
story I told myself is, oh, you know, but then there was a piece of information I found out in 2020 that put it all together. And I was like, okay, now I
Yeah,
need to.
I see that it also took a lot of time for you, also many years, to realize even that exactly what had happened to you, right?
Yeah, I
Because
think
it's
I
a
told
shock.
and I think I told myself like, oh, it was my fault. I put myself in that situation. It was my fault. So just get over it. That kind of, you know, which isn't, it's that very thinking got me to where I am. It's that protecting, but I wasn't feeling it. I was just avoiding it and carrying on in numbness.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have taken a lot of responsibility and guilt on your shoulders,
Yeah, a
which
lot.
wasn't even yours.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But I feel like when I was able to sing, and what I love about singing is that it kind of bypasses the mind, especially for me, because I'm so used to singing, that I was able to sing. And when you sing, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So then you calm down, get out of your head and into your heart. And in that space, I was able to feel, because I'm quite mental, meaning I'm in my brain quite a lot. But when I was singing, I was able to feel the feelings that I was trying to avoid. And this is why I released the rage and grounded in my body. It allowed me to feel the things I were avoiding. And there's something scientific about when you sing, you go to the opposite side of the brain. And so that was the way that I could activate the feelings I was avoiding, if that makes sense.
And it's one part of a therapy that you were undergoing, right? The
Yeah.
singing. Did you also have another therapist or someone who was helping you?
Yeah, so I had a few. I've had a lot of therapists over my time. I had actually the session that brought this to light was a theta. Is it theta? Is it like, is it theta or theta? The
brainwave.
Yeah, that was just one session where that came up, the memory.
The theta healing. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes,
that's
yes.
that. But previously, I'd had like one-on-one coaches, therapists, energy work. I'd had a lot of space held for me to feel into it, but it didn't really touch the sides until the subconscious work began, if that makes sense.
And what subconscious work did you do to come out of that guilt and shame and
it was the
responsibility?
modality that I created, honestly, because I was like, I didn't really have a hypnotherapist like an amazing one like you by hand. So I just I knew subconscious work because I've been in Ubud for so long. So I understood how important it was. But I kind of did it on my own. I got myself into that state of rest and digest and just sang in that state. So I kind of did it on my own.
And I love this rest and digest. I've got a song. Kelly has got a song. I'm saying we because I've been singing to that song since quite long. And how beautiful that the songs could be also healing, could be nourishing, could be motivating, inspiring, and even helping you to release any traumas. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I think I noticed in my client sessions when I started like guiding people that in yoga therapy, I was talking for 45 minutes, people would talk about, their stuff. And there'd be no emotional release. But in the Song for the Soul, people would sing. I'd take them on a methodology. And within, I think it was anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes, then they would have an emotional release. And that was fascinating to me to see that. Because it was like they were getting out of their head, people that relate to music, and into their heart. And then they were able to feel. And I was like, there it is.
So you have created programs with the songs for people to release anything that needs to be released, to overcome the issue and to move on with their lives.
Yeah, definitely. And I like to think like what I do is I hold space, like a space for them to express. I get them into that rest and digest. They sing the song. I assign them the song. So I ask the question, what do you need to hear right now? Get really intimate of what they need to hear. Go through all my songs that I've written. Then assign them the song that they need. See if they resonate with it. We learn the very simple song. And then I take them through the Song for the Soul. So they get to sing that to themselves. It isn't about performing. It's about hearing them say the thing that they needed to hear.
Beautiful. And how long this kind of a therapy would have been taking place, roughly? I know every client is different.
Yeah. Anywhere, like one session would be someone to actually try what it's like, to experience it, but it could be like 8 weeks to 12 weeks. You go on a journey and then they just have a space to sing and express and feel every week.
What's the case you would like to share? Like, I don't know, of a client that is the most inspiring or fascinating. You can call your client obviously a different name.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to give a name. You can say, was it a gentleman or a lady?
It was a lady. And she was she worked in corporate in London. And when she first came to me, she felt really anxious, like super anxious, and she didn't feel enough.
What age was she at that time?
49 at that time. It was right before her 50th birthday. She hired me. So yeah, 49. And so, yeah, she was really anxious. And I think she called me because she met me maybe, I don't know, 12 years previous. She met me in India while I was singing and we became friends. And so I inspired her because she was like, oh, I'd love to sing on stage. I was like, let's do it then. So I prepared and spent time with her and she sang on stage and she loved it. And so when she got this big job in London and she kind of felt she had imposter syndrome, she was like, I know who I want to call and I know who I want to support me through this process with her anxiety. And so we went on a very long journey. She wanted to keep having my support. And I guided her through I Am Enough. And she sang I Am Enough through the streets of London on the tube. She had it in her ears, like on her earpods. And yeah, I got to witness her not only feeling enough, but her life reflecting that. So now she doesn't work in corporate anymore. She's got her own business. She spends more time with her family. So she has a life that she feels worthy of now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, amazing.
And I love it. I love it when it comes to I'm Enough, because I also do have a hypnosis for that. How powerful this belief is. right? And we are all born feeling enough and feeling lovable until something happens in our life, until we are convinced to be the opposite.
Yeah.
And yeah, wonderful that you have created a song for that, because I'm not enough is the root cause of so many issues, right? Is the self-belief, self-esteem, it's success. Not many people know about it, but actually it holds us back from achieving success, because usually person believes, I don't know enough, I'm not intelligent enough. The imposter syndrome, of course, is also a kind of attached to that. And well, a massive fear of rejection when it comes to success. But yes, I am enough is a beautiful, beautiful belief. And I wish every person on this planet literally felt that way.
Yeah. I really feel that when you say that. You must have heard many people over the years struggle with that
Yes,
program.
yes, and also we're performing on the stages,
Yeah.
It's so beautiful to see people enjoying doing what they love, doing it from their heart, and not having that fear of judgment, fear of criticism, and they just. I really love the story you've just shared about this lady going on stage and singing. It's a wonderful journey, and just to witness that, it brings so much of pleasure and satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
Every client brings you joy.
Yeah. I think
Every
we're similar.
case, I mean,
When they're growing, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. I think we're similar in the fact that, I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but you're a nurturer of people. You love to see people grow. I've seen that in you as a friend. You love to see people grow and water them in your hypnotherapy and how you are as a leader, but to see people grow with the space that we hold, and it's just a beautiful thing to.
I believe we are blessed. We are blessed to
The
be
end.
a witness to people's journeys.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the
And that they
most, to
trust,
me.
that
Yeah.
trust, right?
Yeah.
Because I have to be honest, the clients that come towards me, they don't trust many people. Like I have quite one client was a criminologist, like the hypervigilance. They don't trust many people, and the fact that they trust, it's like I feel honored. So I want to show up for them and
Yeah.
deliver, right?
And thank you for sharing this
Wow.
beautiful story.
You're welcome.
Just out of curiosity, how long did it take from the moment that this lady knocked your door,
Yeah.
like from the first day of the therapy till the
Where she is now.
yeah, the results she achieved?
Well, it's not. This is the thing. I think some people think it's a quick fix, like you just press a button. It was the fact of keeping her accountable to do the singing meditations and things like that. So it took about maybe 18 months to 2 years. But it was like, first it was her feeling better about herself. Then it was like she realized she wanted to change her job. Then she had like a health problem like that. I was literally there every step of the way to whatever she was facing to remind her to sing the very thing that she needed to remember who she was through not just one scenario, but many in her life. So I feel like the anxiety thing shifted within like maybe 8 weeks. As soon as I guided her to not self-abandon and for her to be consistent in her self-care, which is another part of what I do, that was about 2 months I got to see her showing up for herself consistently. But all the big things, they took a longer time.
So if she would have only came to you with an anxiety after 8 weeks, which is roughly 2 months, right?
Yeah.
She would have been healed. She was healed,
Yeah.
right? So that's fantastic. That's a really quite fast results. I have had clients with anxiety, and it's uneasy to heal.
Yeah. I think my take on it was just like be consistent, because breath, as we know, is really important. Anyone that has anxiety, we tend to breathe from the clavicular area. So to guide people to sing from the diaphragm, and this is where singing comes in, when you guide them to the diaphragm, they have a longer, slower breath, and then you prevent anxiety that way. So it's like keeping awareness of where you're breathing from. And I was really like, passionate about guiding her back to her belly, basically, belly breathing.
Yes. So the breath is very important, being in here and now, also understanding what kind of thoughts you're thinking, being aware and becoming more a witness to the loops of thoughts, right? It's coming out of that loop. And whether you're anxious or not, you might have had experienced, like myself, from time to time, I get to the loop where somehow my mind convinced me that I can't do something, right? Or little things when it comes to my life. It's usually when I'm planning to, let's say, go to bed earlier and getting up earlier, right? And then sometimes I find myself in that loop. I cannot wake up early. I cannot, excuse me.
Okay.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't realize I got a cough. It was just the first day of my cough. So coming back to...
Would you like some water?
So coming back to that loop, at some point I realized that, oh, okay, of course I cannot go to bed earlier because I'm already in that loop where I keep saying to myself that, oh, again, I didn't go to bed earlier. I won't be able to wake up at my dream time, wherever it is. Usually I plan for 6 a.m. And then it takes me a while to understand, oh gosh, so there is that loop I just entangled myself into. And then I do everything to reprogram my mind and explain that, hey, just start saying the opposite. Yes, I can. I'm going to do this. From this moment onward, I'm going to bed earlier. And so I start literally talking to myself.
That's amazing.
And I think it also helps with anxiety.
Do you find when you speak to like your people or your friends about it, the very expressing the thing that is internally in like the anxiety, when you speak it out, do you feel a bit better about it when you just speak it out loud? Or your processes, are you all right doing that on your own?
I think I had an anxiety when I was a teenager that I did not realize. Like when I started working with people having anxiety, I understood that it used to be my problem, my issue. And how do I work with it? Do I say things like, do I admit that I'm anxious? Is it the question?
Yeah, I think my personal process is that I need either like my therapist or a friend to kind of witness what my anxiety is for me to admit that I have anxiety. Because sometimes I'm like a warrior, I just keep going on. So I was just wondering what your process is. Because
to me is if I see, like recently, I have been postponing to book a flight.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I started questioning myself. Yes, I was moving the house, but I was like, hey, it's less than a week. You meant to fly to Egypt and you haven't got your flight booked yet. And I'm flying through Singapore and then I'm flying to India and then to Egypt. That's the plan. But I haven't even got the first ticket to Singapore, where I'm supposed to stay with my friend for a couple of days, enjoy it and have fun. But because I see I've got a cycle now of 7 years closing. And that was exactly the way where it all began for me. When I was flying to London, having made a decision to move to Bali, I stopped in Singapore, where my friend used to live. And then I came to Bali. And I had also, because I stayed for so long, she was insisting for me to stay longer than a week. Then I stayed for 2 weeks, but then I ended up being there a month. I started having an anxiety. Like I started having some fear. Because I started to feel a resistance. Okay. And I see it's kind of the same pattern is coming back, flying the other way, because it reminds me, probably triggers that situation where I was jumping into unknown, moving a country. let's be honest, it's an uneasy thing to do, especially when you don't have friends, you don't know where you're going. You know, you're moving to paradise, but your career. I think we do have a bit of similar stories in that way, because we were both establishing our businesses online.
Yeah.
Yet, so having created yet that stability, I think shakes the ground a little bit, and of course the mind begins worrying. So coming back to me not booking the flight,
Yeah.
so I started to question myself, why? What is beyond that? And I realized, yes, that there is a part of me that is fearing. And there is a bit of an anxiety as well attached to that somehow. And what I decided to do is to ask my friend.
Did you? Okay.
To sit and literally book with me the first flight.
Oh, I love that. So you called in support,
Because,
so you could like, I'd be the
because
same.
also this year I'm learning how to ask for support. I could have programmed my mind. I know how to do that. I could have done hypnosis for myself, but I have chosen fastest way, and I have also given chance to myself to ask for this support, and to other person to give that support.
Yeah, I love to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I really love hypnotherapy, subconscious work, but the bit that I've learned recently is having good friends might be like the secret ingredient. For me, I never used to ask for help. I was so hyper independent for, things that happened when I was younger, that getting a good tribe and having someone that you feel safe enough to be like, help.
Seen for what you are,
Yeah.
and seeing your shadows, which is also a beautiful way of being, instead of bypassing everything. And, I'm positive monk living in Bali, and I'm perfect, which never is true.
Yeah.
We are all people. We are all being triggered. Anxiety sometimes knocks the door, other issues coming out. And having a friend who is witnessing you, and I think you've mentioned it's your way of dealing with the anxieties, having someone seeing you,
witnessing. I think as soon as it comes out, for me, sorry, I'm excited. When it comes out my mouth, I get to hear it. So I call it like soundboarding, right? When I admit that the very thing is going on, and I literally am in front of my friend who I love and admire, and as I'm saying it, I'm like, it's like I actually accept it myself because I'm saying the thing. It's not in my head anymore. It's out.
You're giving it permission to be as it is, and to be witness that there is an anxiety in me in regards to whatever it is.
Yeah, and having someone like you don't fix or save or give me advice in that moment. You just let me have the space to talk. And while I'm talking, I'm like, oh, now I know what I need to do about that.
Okay,
it's beautiful.
So we are similar, because I've also realized that whenever I talk on the phone to my friends, actually, it is way easier for me to analyze what's happening in my head, in my mind, and with the feelings that I'm feeling. Yeah.
There's something about expression, isn't it? And they say this in a few of the scriptures. I can't remember which ones, but to be witnessed, a bit like a virus in a dish. When you're witnessed, whether it's one-on-one, you grow, but also it's like, there's something magical about being witnessed. Because you can do, I think for me, I thought I can do everything on my own, but having that support from another and it being reflected back like a mirror and having the space held, there's clarity in that. But let's be honest, I didn't trust everyone, and I don't trust everyone. So having a confidant that you can be yourself around and say the thing that I wouldn't say to everyone, then I can do something about it, because then I'm not avoiding it. But I can't do that with everyone. I can't. I have to trust and love them.
Yeah.
So thank you for being my friend, basically. Because there's some stuff, like, especially as a mentor and the labels I put on myself, I'm like, I know everything. No. Like, I can be my inner little child with you and be like, so I dated a man. She's like, oh, here we go. Not again. So, yeah.
But it's great to be surrounded by by friends who are actually in psychology, mind reprogramming, and quite conscious people, I would say, because every therapist needs a therapist, right?
Yeah.
And it's great that we can give that support to each other, and we can give each other space of seeing what is there, and a beautiful practice of sharing, which our friend Luciana is a massive fan of it.
Sharing is caring.
And it's such a beautiful practice that we are just we are blessed to have it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because how much of how much things are coming out, and I believe that is a practice that makes you feel aware of what is actually happening inside of you. And while you're sharing, you can also realize that you become a witness of everything. And that's a beautiful practice for those, especially with the anxiety, to give yourself a space, to have a friend who is just willing to sit down and be an active listener rather than the advisor and the person who knows the best what is great for you.
Yeah.
And having this container makes life easier and makes you to understand that, first of all, you're not the only one on this planet going through those things.
Yeah.
Especially with the situation around the world right now.
Yeah.
Secondly, your friend might resonate with what you're saying. And when it's their time of sharing, they might also admit that they struggle with the anxiety as well. Thirdly, you can distance yourself from the issue and see it from the other angle, which is more of a witnessing position, and gives even more space for every feeling, for every thought to be seen. So it's a beautiful therapy to take yourself out of that container, and instead of going through each emotion and feeling it, which is also part of therapy, we have mentioned it, there is a way of getting out of that feeling, because how long can you feel anxious, or how long can you feel anger? How long you can grieve? There is a time for everything, right?
Yeah, true.
And that's a moment of when we are deciding to come out of it.
Yeah. Something came up when you were speaking. I spoke to a couples therapist, I think it was the other day, and he said, because I was obviously very curious, I was like, tell me. And he was like, the most successful couples are the ones that can get back to center and deal with conflict as quick as possible. So they're able to, like, one, know that there's conflict there, but then talk about it as a we, not as an I, and get back to the relationship as soon as possible. And my take on that is that we have anxiety and we're aware of the anxiety, but in my opinion, to get back to center as quick as possible, or as quick as we can with support, right? Because I feel like sometimes it's a fine line between feeling it and then smearing it all over us, but also to be supported in it. So hopefully I'm making sense, but meaning that it's not how we fall, it's how we rise. And how can we get back to center and use our support systems and our subconscious tools to get back to center again? And to know that there are going to be hard things and conflict, but to find our center point and use our support system and subconscious reprogramming to get back to the game. Because we've got an amazing life, and sometimes we're in our head and anxiety, we're missing the very moment that we're given. Does that make sense?
That's so true. What do you mean by saying the center? Can you explain a little
balanced. So being a yoga,
excuse me,
being a yoga therapist, I feel like how I work is that you've got the masculine part of the brain and the feminine part of the brain. So the left and the right side, the Ida and the Pingala. So I think I'm saying that right, Ida and Pingala?
Yes, Ida is left, Pingala right.
Yeah, so I feel like once we can go into rest and digest, however we want to do that, or we say the thing that we're avoiding, then we can find our center again. So being able to do that with breath, singing, hypnotherapy, so we're able to feel that moment of stillness, it's basically getting from fight to flight to rest and digest for your nervous system to calm. In that calm, then there's clarity. And when there's clarity, the wisdom of the heart, that comes up. But you have to get to safety in order for that space to be created. So how do we do that? Singing, hypnotherapy, singing, etc. And for me, when I sing, and now there's science behind it, when you hum and sing for 3 minutes, you go back into rest and digest because you're soothing yourself like a cat. You're purring, right? So that's one way of looking at it.
I love it. I love when you said go from fight or flight to rest and digest. Absolutely love it. It's like a steps. You can go from here into here, and then you're fine, you're balanced, you're in harmony, peace. You centered, in other words, so you are just in here and now, where everything is beautiful because your breath is slows down, right? You are more in that moment. You are more at peace with yourself and your thoughts, because usually what gets you out of there is the thought that comes, knocks your doors, and without you noticing it, it just sneaks in and begin convincing you that something is wrong with you, or you can't do something, or it could be anything, right?
Yeah. I really love what you said, is the fact that there needs to be awareness first. So once we have awareness, like, oh, I'm feeling really anxious right now, then I come to you and go, I'm feeling really anxious right now. You're like, okay. And then I go, okay, what am I going to do about it? I'm going to do breath and sing songs. So I feel like awareness comes first.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exactly what your question was when you were asking what I'm doing, is first step, that awareness, understanding that, hey, something is going on that is not my usual way of being, right? I'm out of balance or center, or something distracts me. What is it, right?
Yeah. My personal indication, which I've never really shared before, but I will, is that I notice when I'm being really judgmental with people, like, oh, they're annoying. Oh, they're annoying. And I'm just judging everyone. That's me protecting myself. And it's my mind overthinking to keep myself safe. And that's one indication that I need to calm down. So because judging is just, I'm keeping myself safe. That's okay. But I'm like, why am I like that? And how can I get back to safety? Does that make sense?
I love it.
I'm like, why am I being so judgmental?
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I don't feel safe.
Yeah. And it's a great discovery, because no matter how much we try to not be judgmental, the thoughts are the thoughts. They're just coming, and then sometimes they convince you that you don't like this person, or you don't like something they've done, or they haven't done the way you want it to be done, which is a lot of control. And by the way, control, it's always something that bothers anxious people. Actually, being out of control is the biggest fear, and that's why they try to control everything. And that's why their way of thinking would have been, why did he do that in the way that I did not want him to do, or why he hasn't done something that the way I told him to do, right? Let's say him as an example. It doesn't need to be a man. It could be a woman.
Probably is.
But
just kidding. Just kidding.
But usually it's the control over everything. It's trying to control people, control situation. But when we understand, what can we actually control in this life? Can we control the weather?
No.
Even though we try now, I know scientists are trying to create rain. That's why I think it was raining in Dubai at some point.
Oh, okay.
That was a bit of a flood even. Yes, scientists are playing with the weather. We still can't control it. Can we control any people, any situations?
No. No.
Yeah. But there is only one thing that we can. Kelly knows the answer.
Oh. We can control how we react. We can control the choices that we make. We have the power. And I think that's the nicest thing, that we might not have control over that, which is, it's not a nice feeling, but to know that we have power of our thoughts, our emotions, the people that we hang around, the food that we eat, the exercise that we do, we have control over that. And that feels
Yes.
empowering.
And most of all, our thoughts.
Yeah.
When we control our thoughts, breath, and everything you've mentioned, here and now is always the place to be. It's always home. It's always safe. It's always beautiful. It's always okay, right?
Yeah, I love the way you said that. When I have a thought of anxiety or like a thought that comes up that I think I don't, because I have the observer now, because I've meditated for so long, I'm able to kind of go, okay, that's an interesting thought. And I don't take all thoughts as facts now. I used to think that they were all real, but now I'm the observer. I have a little comical thing I do in my head. I'm like, shut that door. Whenever I'm thinking I've left my straighteners on or there's going to be a fire in my house, which happens with someone that has that anxiety, I say in my mind, is that fact? And then I say, shut the door to that thought. And distract myself because it's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, of course. We all have from time to time this kind of thoughts. Did I shut my door? Did I switch off my straightener?
Yeah.
Or iron?
But
It
it's like,
happens to all because I think if we don't find enough time to slow down, we are super active, sometimes hyperactive, or too fast, right?
which is fight and flight. Fight and flight is fast, right?
Exactly. Especially people living in big cities like London, Sydney, New York, anywhere else around the world. It just, the dynamics are really fast, and it's very important to slow down and be extremely aware of every movement, right? That's why when I was practicing awareness every day for 4 months, and it's one of the best moments of my life, I realized I have less and less this kind of thoughts. Did I switch off this or that, close the door? Because I would close the door and I would be so conscious that I'm locking it, right? So close and lock, different thing, like locking it. And I'll be like leaving, and no matter where I went, I knew I did it because I was so present in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's lovely. But with my clients and even how I used to be many years ago, I don't know how realistic that is. Like people have a modern life, they're really busy and they're not as mindful. They have like,
Of
some people don't
course,
even have time.
kids are coming and distracting you. Mommy, mommy, mommy,
Yeah,
mommy,
yeah.
mommy,
Can you
mommy.
imagine? Like sometimes my clients say, sometimes I just go for a wee so I can have a moment to breathe, you know? So I always say, if you don't necessarily have that space in your life, how can you get back to just having the awareness of, okay, that's not necessarily a correct, or like a true, or it's not fact. And this is why singing, humming, hypnotherapy, it can be something that's quick, but to get you back into the moment and to be aware of your anxiety, even if you don't have a lot of space.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't have space. And I think it also highlights how grateful I am for all the space that I have. But if I'm not careful, I could fill that space with anxiety if I didn't know what I know.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. Because my clients don't have time.
It's so true. Many people don't have time. We don't blame them because we know how life is and how it is to have a family as well. And well, luckily we've got so many now therapists, so many facilities, and a lot of tools we can use in order to help our minds to slow down, to calm our nervous system. And it's fantastic because our even parents, not even mentioning our grandparents, they didn't have a chance even to, they didn't have that much of space to have the, they didn't have the access to that.
Yeah, that's true. My grandma talked about when she went through a war. She went through a war, and some of the stuff that I talked about, she was like, Kelly, you've just got to get on with it. And I'm like,
They didn't have time to deal with that.
Yeah, they were just going through literally a war, so they didn't feel safe enough to be able to process. So my grandma had some amazing traits about her, but the one that she spoke about towards the end of her life, which she was like, I wish I had more space to feel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she noticed that actually. And it was nice for me to witness.
Beautiful.
But if we're going through something that's quite dangerous, we're not going to sit there and go, how am I feeling right now? So my grandma's life makes sense. But I guess this is why it's so empowering to know I can rewrite this, not only for my grandma, for my mom, and do it a better way that isn't holding in my body. My grandma had a
Yes.
heart attack, so she was holding
Oh,
the energy in her heart.
I see. And being a woman and being so emotional, if we are not always connected to our emotions, and we were allowed to cry when we were younger, like more in comparison to men, of course,
Yeah.
then imagine how uneasy it must have been to men
Yeah.
to express his feelings. First of all, is to feel what are you feeling and be able to describe the emotion, and then to feel it.
Yeah, I have way more empathy for men now, and I have taught quite a lot of guys recently. And to have that, I'm starting to understand how much pressure they had. And now it's confused like, what is a man? What's masculinity? Is it vulnerability? Am I too vulnerable? I think some guys just find it hard to express. So they kind of just go insular and they don't necessarily have like girlfriends that they can talk to. So I feel like they have a lot more process time and they need a lot more process time, some men, to actually, similar to how I was, to figure out how they're feeling and then they can even say it out loud. But a lot of men don't know and they haven't been given the opportunity. So I'd love to continue to support that in my friend group and in my clients because there's a lot of suppression. I only need to go near someone to feel the resonance of their holding a lot. But I reckon if there was a safe space for the right person, they would open up.
Yeah, because what I have been recently told by one of the gurus I follow is that women are more having their hearts open, and he's a man, so we don't have to blame
Is he a
everything on
good
women.
guru? Is he a good guru?
I trust so, because I wouldn't have followed him.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
he
I
said
take it.
women are more connected to the heart than men are. It's uneasy for men to open the heart. But when I look now, what is happening right now, when it comes to relationships, right? Getting it's getting worse and worse because women are struggling with opening their heart and trust and feeling safe. And if that's true, and men having their hearts closed, how can we create an amazing relationships? How
Yeah.
can we thrive in this world? And hence, there's less and less of marriages, relationships. Many people around the world are single and struggling to find the partner. Sometimes I have this thoughts that like watching people that they almost have, some of them have almost convinced themselves that they don't need a partner, that they can be like live their life being single. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I have a big opinion about that. I spoke to my girlfriend about this the other day. I've come full circle in my relationship history. We don't have time for that on this podcast. This is a long one. But I feel like what I have discovered is that the synergy of male and females, when it's good and there's responsibility took on both parts, I've had a really lovely relationship where I blossomed. And there's that energy of masculine and femininity where you both grow and you're both nurturing each other. I see it as like an analogy of you're on a ship, you're not on an individual ship, but you're getting on a ship together and you're sailing. There's a few storms, but you're going together and you're growing and evolving and it's great. It's only until the ship breaks or we start blaming each other for the childhood trauma or all the old programs that we're on our separate ships. So I feel like now I've met my masculine part of myself and continue to. I have more respect for the masculine, which is consistency, integrity, discipline, all the good traits of a man. So therefore I value that. And I actually see it in men. Obviously there's toxicity with, some traits of a man, but I see the goodness within me and the parts that I need for my business. So therefore I respect that in a guy. And so what I would like more men to maybe see or give space to listen to is to value the feminine parts, which are intuitive, creative, inspiring, all the things that you can't actually see and feel. And I think when a guy is intelligent enough, and there are emotionally intelligent guys out there, then they value it. And when they value that in a woman, then there's like a nice respect on both sides for us to work well as a team. Now with media and everything, it's like men are this, women are this. And I'm like, no, that's a divide. I think if we both had the skills of listening to one another, because I am humbled every time I speak to my male friend, I'm like, oh, like getting a window into their world, I have more empathy. So my antidote, and I don't always do this, is if we can listen to men and men can listen to women, then we start to understand our struggles. And if we do have trust issues, like I've had trust issues with men, we have to trust ourselves first, and then we can trust ourselves in a relationship. But it has to be, we have to trust ourselves first. Otherwise, we're bringing a lot of shit to the table. And we're blaming the other person on the shit, right?
I love the analogy being together on a boat.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it, because you need to rock the boat together, right?
Yeah. And
It's
there will be
either
storms, right? Like, oh, there's a storm coming. So how can we get through this storm? Not like you're driving it and then you blame everyone. So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So building trust with yourself,
Yeah.
to summarize what you've said.
And I'm not in a relationship. This is just 43 years of relating, and I had a beautiful relationship for a long period of time. So
Yeah.
I just want to premise that.
Second thing is to then trust, obviously, your partner.
Yeah.
And stop blaming.
Yeah.
This is the big one.
Yeah. Taking responsibility for our part, right? I think we do that. How do we respond to life? Once we have enough awareness that we're actually able to go, oh, that's a little bit me, then you can take responsibility to a little, then it's not you're attacking, you're trying to problem solve together. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I got passionate then.
It does. Thank you. Thank you so much. It does. And also, when it comes to even relation with friends or other people that I know, I always look also at what could I have done better?
Yeah.
Because that's the question. It's extremely easy to blame everything on another person, which is a bit of a childish position, I would say. Yeah. But asking yourself, what or how could I do? What do I do to make this relationship better? How my reaction to situation, right? Of course, briefing and doing my best to keep the respect and sit to conversation, to communicate with the person, right? Find that time when you're both calmer. Let's say if you're arguing in the middle of the argument.
I'm triggered right now. I need to go.
Yes, I know it's an easy one because people do get triggered. We all do.
Yeah.
And but when there is enough space and enough time also to think, what have I done? How would I have perceived myself if that was my partner?
Yeah.
Right. Also ask the partner, what do you see in me that you'd like to be better?
Yeah. And to be able to this is the thing. I think when we're in fight and flight again, we take everything as a defense. I know I can be defensive when I'm frustrated and not safe. So I feel like picking a good time that you're both grounded and calm and rest and digest to have these hard conversations. So I'm individually grounded. I had this recently with my ex. We had a hard conversation and I was able to listen to his side. And some of the things he said were not pretty. But because I was leaning in and I was there, not only for self-discovery, but I wanted the guy to feel heard. And I didn't take it personally because he needed his time. It was hard, some of the things he said about it. And I was like, okay. But I was grounded enough to not be reactive because I wasn't in fight and flight in that moment. But it took a lot of prep and a lot of bravery to, again, admit that there was something in my part that played in the reaction. And he also did that. He was able to go, and this is my part. It's a very mature thing to do and not one that lots of people can do. But if we're grounded, and again, it comes back to how can we solve this? So in this relationship I had, I wanted to be friends with him and I didn't want to see him at the gym and it be charged. But honestly, I chose to spend 6 hours to resolve this. We both did, to come to a resolution so he could speak, I could speak, and then we could problem solve and try and work forward, because something beautiful happened in that relationship. He got a lot out of it. I got something out of it. And so we move on. But I'm glad I have the space and the freedom lifestyle that I can lean into this stuff. But honestly, I came out of that meeting of saying goodbye with some information, a blind spot and a shadow, which I love. It wasn't easy, but I love growing as a person. So I've took that now and I've made it a song.
Beautiful. I'd love to hear about the song, but I would like to say also that how can we learn about ourselves and how can we grow if we would have had people telling us only beautiful things about us?
Exactly.
It's hard, who would ever tell you about your shadows?
Yeah.
If not your partner.
Yeah. Or your girlfriends.
Oh, your
You've told me some stuff about me. I'm like, that's kind of true. It's like, I don't. It's true. You say it and you're like, I love Victoria. I know she has the best interest in what she's just said. It's like my gut. And it's like, that's true. I don't want to hear it, but it's true.
Yeah, well, nobody wants to hear about their shadows, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be perfect. And I think that's our strive and this soul evolution. We try to go through any obstacles, overcome and get better. And yes, it took me years to confront people with something that I am not happy with or how it makes me feel. It's all about the feeling that we give to another person. It's not the advice, it's not the company, it's not even your energy, which, yeah, partly it is. But how do we make people feel about themselves? Right?
Yeah.
That's that's why people are usually drawn to us. It's how do they feel about themselves around us? So, of course, by sometimes confronting even your best friend, it's challenging. It's uneasy. It's very uneasy. It's super uncomfortable process for me to actually do that. But I know that it's for the best for both of us, for the best sake and for the person to grow. And I'm super grateful for people also telling me things about me. And I have another friend that I'm seeing soon in Singapore. And looking 15 or 16 years back, when it came to me, that story where she confronted me over the phone, trust me, I was a different person. Really? And thanks to that, it also helped me to grow. Yes.
That's great. I love that. I'm getting goosebumps. I just feel like the art of being able to take responsibility and knowing that if someone's saying something, especially the people that you trust and admire, then there's something in that to grow. I love self-development while realizing I'm enough in this present moment. But that's what I love about friendships. All the ships are good. Business ships, mentorships, friendships, loverships. The ship.
The ship. I like the.
And without communication, the ship will sink. And without the ability to listen, our ship will sink. So I'm really grateful for friendships because I love to grow. And I've grown, like you were saying.
You have since last year. It's a massive change. Like it's noticeable, right?
Yeah. Thank you for that. And again, there was an internal journey that you didn't even know that, you know, like when we first met, there was stuff that was going on that I didn't feel safe enough to share yet. So I didn't tell you my process. And now you getting to see the evolution in me is, again, really nice to be witnessed. Because sometimes if we're so close to our artwork, we don't see the beauty in the art. So our friends can reflect back those beautiful colors that we sometimes don't see.
I see.
I'm like, oh, I'm flowing.
Yeah. Kelly, I know that you do, as you have mentioned, help people in many fields, many areas of their lives. Yeah. And I would like to get on the ship with you of the abundance. Ooh. Like I know you do have a money song, which is absolutely amazing. Okay. I make money to exist. So hold on, what's the lyrics?
There's a few. Which one's that one?
The one we have created it together. I get paid to exist.
Yeah.
Okay. I love this phrase. And recently in my podcasts, I'm introducing that balance. I'm digging into how to create the balance between spirituality and material world, because that's on the path I am. I had path of renunciation, completely everything, and, you know, being very much on the spiritual side. But I see it does not serve. It did not serve as well to me. I also observe other people struggling with money when they're too much into spirituality, but they still did not leave the society and go to Tibet or, you know, cave to meditate. They're still in the world, material world that surrounds them. And yeah, I would like to know, how do you help people to create more abundance in their lives, and how do you balance the this both
balance the
sides,
what do you mean?
spirituality and materiality?
Okay. How I support my clients to do that is to listen to the money song in the morning and at night. So to reprogram themselves, because money is, as you know, is such a field of old stories, whether it's like your lineage and stuff like that. So to be able to, in that rest and digest and theater, to go into the subconscious with it is way cleverer than affirming with no emotion. So I guide my clients to sing the song in the morning and at night. Why? Because that's reprogramming, and the malleable states of the brain can start marinating in that. But I think there's something magic with singing. I think there's something magic with singing, because, like, to affirm sometimes, like, oh, I get paid to exist. It's like monotone. There's no feeling behind it. Like, I get paid to exist. It's like there's no real charge there. But once you know how to use your voice, you can really tell the story, feel the feelings, and get into that visualization if you're a visual person, and then feel you feeling like, I really do get paid to exist. And there's a resonance of vibration, and the vibration is what takes you to a match for your money. But I'm starting to realize now with my own journey, money songs are one thing, but self-concept is another. So to have a song or hypnotherapy to remind you that you're worthy of money and it's safe to have money, because I feel like in my own journey, I was like, oh, if I get rich, I'm going to be a bitch. It's like, that's not.
Yeah, there's so many limiting beliefs in there. And I'm glad you have mentioned feeling worthy. That's such a basic feeling. So important, and so many people don't feel it.
Yeah, which is valid, right, for their individual story. But how can we, as facilitators, give them scripts, hypnotherapy, or singing to support the new program? Like, it's safe to receive. I think as a giver, it was harder for me to receive.
Yeah, it's safe to receive. It's unsafe to be me. There's so much beyond. It's unsafe to express myself. It's unsafe to receive, you have mentioned. But also it is unsafe to overgrow my own family. There is also a loyalty, right? Belonging to the family. We are all tribal beings, right? We used to be in tribes. Now we are connected to our family. And family we are so connected to it because it used to be responsible for our survival. Being a child, you know, you won't make it. Whether it was before in Amazon bushes or it's in the nowadays modern world, every child still really hangs to the family. Like, they want to belong.
Yeah.
And that fear of being rejected by your family, of being unloved, if you do much better, if you're more successful, and of course you will be at some point if that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's also something that needs to be addressed, and people need to understand that you still will be the same loving, wonderful person, and
you could be more of you. I think this is what I'm realizing. You could be more of you as you have more resources, more expansion. You're magnified. But I think the subconscious is like, it's not safe and everyone's going to be jealous, and then you're going to be alone. So I think, like, to remember that you have good friends around you, that again, we are who we hang around with, that are on a journey that are going to support and expand, not say, oh, you know, like, I feel that this is where our friends come in, people that want to help us grow rather than being envious of what they want, maybe.
It's so crucial to surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah, because you can start thinking crazy, right? You're like,
so
oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm talking expansive, and I've got this vision, and then someone will go, well, that's a bit much. I'm like, bit much? And if I guess I used to do this when I was younger, I started to be infiltrated by the people and start believing the stories that they were telling me because they didn't think it was possible. So they were projecting that on me.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was very impressionable. Now I'm like, that's a limiting belief.
It's not mine.
Thank you. That is yours, but that is not mine.
Yeah. And it's so important what I have realized since exactly a year and 4 months.
Oh, wow.
I came to this realization because I moved into the place I used to live around here, and I moved out, and now I was like, wow, not even like recently, right? Not long ago, I was thinking, when one even person can see you somewhere, like another friend of mine, a gorgeous Richard, which I miss, he's in India right now. They can see you on a world stage. I was like, what? Honestly, even hearing this at that time was, to me, it's impossible. Like you don't see yourself there, and it's very inspiring even to see other people to position you so high, you know, and that it gives you permission to wish for it yourself. And yeah, it's completely opposite to what you have mentioned. Rather than diminishing you, when you have people who can uplift you, it helps you tremendously with your growth. And if you are lucky enough to have two people seeing you where they would like you to be and where you realize is your place to be, it's another incredible blessing.
Yeah, so true. It's like nourishing water for the soil to grow. I think sometimes we forget what we can do. So to have someone we trust and respect reflect that back, it kind of gives us the vision. And of course, we need to believe in ourselves. But with my friends, it's like sometimes you just need someone to be your cheerleader and to believe in you to give you that little uplift.
Exactly. And if you don't have this kind of friends uplifting you,
say goodbye to them. They're wasting your time. Bye.
That's respect. For sure. That's 100%.
Nicely.
Decided.
Are you nourishing my life? No. Goodbye. Thank you.
Is it win-win, or is it I'm always giving and I'm always feeling like I'm depleted of my energy? Because I have had this kind of relationships. True. I just would like to also add that is very important. And my biggest growth was not only through my friends seeing me that high, but also through the mentors.
Yeah, so true. So true.
Spent quite a lot of money on. I was going with the group of women first in a setting of 5 women plus mentor for over a year. And then I decided to do an online mentoring with someone, which also was with a massive, massive group of women. And it was about creating my brand. And then I came to conclusion that I need to get into the VIP position, where actually I'm going to buy a VIP packet from a lady who I saw as my mentor. And the reason why I came to her, because she is realized in every area of her life. She's self-realized person in every area of her life. She's spiritual, and she did not renunciate. Well, right now she also have a similar path to me, where she did renunciate all the, treasure of whatever this life is offering to you. And I thought, it's exactly where I was at that time. And I want to balance. I want to still have a bit of luxury in my life, and not necessarily a bit, as much as possible. Why luxury should be something that is seen in a bad light? I do like luxury. I did have a luxurious life. I did have my ups and downs as well. I had times where I was, I think, about 20 years old, and I couldn't buy myself a banana. You know,
wow, yeah.
how poor I was. There were times where I struggled with money as well, but let's be honest, it is much easier to be a kind and loving person when you are financially stable.
Yeah.
It is much easier to dive into psychology, dive into philosophy of life is, and ask yourself questions who I am, because you have created your financial stability. You don't have to worry, you don't have to be in this survival mode in your first three chakras and worry about food and everyday, money issues,
Yeah.
like, finances basically. And yeah, you can then grow way, way faster and connect to the divine.
Yeah, I like that. It's a really beautiful way. The way my mind's going now is that some of my clients will be like, yeah, but how do you do that? And I think it goes back to what we were saying before. Recognize you're in fight and flight, get into rest and digest. That's safety, and safety is root. And then remembering who we are. In my case, I guide people to remember who they are through song, and then their self-concept changes, and then they can be the magnet to what they are safe and worthy of. But I feel like everyone has their way of doing that, but being aware that they don't feel safe. How do they get to safety? And it could be maybe 20 seconds of safety in a day, but you can do that in bite-sized chunks.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for your wisdom, for your beautiful heart. I could have spoken to you for hours. And I would love to do the second podcast with you, where we would maybe more look into financial stability and how to create this life where you don't have to be in a survival mode. You are in a thriving mode. Yeah, and I love this song where the lyrics we put for me when Kelly created one was thriving in the unknown. And I started having those moments where I was like, I'm ready for the unknown, because I think whenever the growth is happening in our lives, this is a certain space, a certain container opens where you need to step into that unknown, because you never know, especially when it's a new business, moving the country, a new partner or partnership, right? You don't know how the things would go. So trust, it needs always to be there. Flow, space for the flow, and ability of being resilient, right? With whatever comes into that field, and also approaching it with the heart of a child, with the curiosity.
Yeah.
And yeah, loving the unknown instead of going into this fear and survival mode.
Yeah, true. And again, it keeps coming back to what we've been saying. It's like get into rest and digest, feel safe enough, and to have a curious heart. When we surrender, we remember. And I feel like find something, whether hypnotherapy or singing, to remember who you are and what you literally are, which is love at the end of the day. But we're allowed to forget. It's just how quick do we get back up to our center? Yeah, which is valid, right, for their individual story. But how can we, as facilitators, give them scripts, hypnotherapy, or singing to support the new program? Like, it's safe to receive. I think as a giver, it was harder for me to receive.
Yeah, it's safe to receive. It's unsafe to be me. There's so much beyond. It's unsafe to express myself.